All right. How are we feeling, guys? Good to be here. I'm going to be speaking about music NFTs today. So just as a show of hands, who here in the audience has heard of music NFTs before? I like it. We got a pretty overwhelming majority here. So I'm going to take the assumption that we don't need to spend too much time covering what NFTs are. In this presentation, I want to give you a 15-minute rundown of everything I'm seeing. Word of advance, I talk very fast, so I encourage you to keep up. But I will be sharing these slides after, so if you need to come and find them, that's where to stay tuned. So my name's Cooper. I go by Koopa Troopa online here. I'm a big music NFT guy. For those of you that know me, you'll know that's basically all I've been tweeting about for the last 3 months. And in this presentation, I want to tell you why. Before we dive into that, we have a couple of the projects that I'm involved with here. Advisor for Audius, co-founder of FWB, venture partner at Variant, investor and collector on Sound, and many, many others. So I'm excited to get into it and to show you guys what I've been working on. But first, before we do, what are music NFTs? As I said, most of you guys are familiar here, so we won't spend too much time here. But in my opinion, music NFTs are tokenized singles, EPs, or album. It's limited digital vinyls, collectibles you can sell in a secondary market, and most importantly, a way to identify superfans. I think it's important to recognize that with music NFTs, you can resell them, you can display them in a virtual gallery, and you can access tokenized content. But some things that you cannot do with music NFTs is monetize them on behalf of the artist, license them out without the express consent, or redistribute them to people that you do not have the permission to do. On the left side here, I've included an Instagram post by Metaverse called An Introduction to Music NFTs. It's a quick carousel view to share with your friends and a great way to help get people started if they want to learn more. But more importantly, what is Web3? And I think this is why music NFTs are so exciting to me, because we're really bringing in a new subset of culture. To me, when I think of Web3, I think of culture, I think of ownership, community, governance, treasury, all key terms that I think really help to inform this culture that make music NFTs so powerful. I love this graphic here because people ask me all the time, what does Web3 mean? And it's really as simple as connecting your wallet. Web2, we sign in with 1 million different emails, and Web3, you connect with your wallet. I think this really unlocks this, hiccup, coming back. It really unlocks this term at the bottom here, free to use and valuable to own. I think this is so important because people ask me all the time, are NFTs meant to be exclusive? Can I only listen to the song if I own the NFT? And I say no, distribute the music as far and wide as possible. What NFTs are meant to do is give you a collectible layer to add a financial value to your relationship with that song itself. So this was what the music NFT landscape looked like in January of this year. At this point, I've been tracking music NFTs for about 3 months. There's about 50 projects on the radar here. This took me a couple hours to put together, and I thought, wow, this space is going really, really fast. This was all over the course of probably the last year or so. But now if we zoom forward to today in April, it's gotten twice as big. We have over 100 projects that are now working in the music NFT landscape, all across the board, from editions to fan clubs. We have tons of labels getting involved. We have tons of different research outlets. I know it's a little bit blurry on the screen here, but I just posted this on Twitter yesterday. If you go on there, you'll be able to find it. There's going to be a lot of projects to look into. I tried to take some time to put some projects in the top left that I'm particularly excited about there. So for all these categories, you're going to notice at the top that there's some pretty cool projects to check out. The important question, what are my top picks right now? What am I looking at? Where am I spending time? I've zoomed in on 4 here just to help quantify that a little bit more. I'm a really, really big collector on Sound. Sound is releasing music NFT editions from up-and-coming artists that are really into Web3, which I'm very excited about. Audius is a streaming platform that's built on Solana, enabling micropayments that I think are super, super exciting. Royal's experimenting with some of the biggest artists in the world and letting you collect ownership in the songs that you know and love. And then Catalog is releasing history on-chain. If you want to have a one-of-one NFT for some of the most exclusive music in the world, Catalog's the place to find it. But why are music NFTs important? I think that this is the topic I want to spend some time on here because a lot of people ask me, why are you so passionate about music NFTs? Why are you spending so much time on this? I believe that we're going to get to a state where we're going to have artist economies at scale. And the reason for that is music NFTs enable their creation in a way that we haven't been able to see before. First and foremost, music NFTs drive on-chain revenue. If I'm an artist looking to sell something to my community, I can sell NFTs on-chain and drive that revenue directly back to a community treasury. This gives an artist brand on-chain value that you can then tokenize on top. So if I have a community treasury that's being driven by the sale of music NFTs, I can create an artist token that's now not only backed by the fandom of my fans, but it actually has on-chain value underneath it. This is very different from a token that represents a fan club or something that has no value underneath it. We now have sustainable on-chain cash flows constantly backing these artist economies. And what that does lets you ask the question, how much is an artist brand worth? Right now, if I ask how much Jack Harlow's brand is worth, no one could probably tell me that question except for the label exec that's working on that project. But if we ask all the fans in the world to place a value on that, you start to get in some really interesting conversations. So now the fans get to say, I think that this brand is worth this much. I think this artist token is worth this much. And everyone can participate in that conversation. I think that's a really, really incredible thing. So at the bottom here, We're just selling music online. Music NFTs aren't doing anything too crazy. We've sold music for generations before, and we'll continue to do it moving forward. It's not that complicated. Don't overthink it. Sell some NFTs online and see what you can do with it. I wanted to highlight some music NFT communities to join. I get a lot of questions from people about where I get started, and these are just some of the places that I think are good to tap in. You'll see here there's about 15 to 20 different communities that are all focused on music NFTs in some way, shape, or form. Everything from artist communities to research camps to writing courses and everything in between. So if you are someone that's new to music NFTs and looking to get a start on it, these are some of the places I recommend diving in. They're all fantastic. We've heard talks from some of them here at the conference today, but all of these places are great ways to stay involved. Now, this is an important question that I get asked about a lot. What do you look for when you're looking to start collecting or participating in the music NFT economy? For me, it's really about how core you are to the Web3 culture and how much you understand that game. As some of the questions here, how much does an artist care about Web3? Are they doing a drop just to be ahead of the curve and just to make a quick buck, or do they actually care about the culture that's being promoted, and do they want to make it a central part of their brand? Does it feel authentic and genuine? You know, this is a question that everyone comes to me saying, oh, we have this really amazing project that we want to work on. We don't want it to be a cash grab. We want to be here for the long term. Everyone's going to say that. It's a no-brainer. You have to be able to look through that and think, who is actually here to have a place over the long term, and how can I add to that value in the immediate short term? The culture, I think, is extremely important here. You know, people need to understand kind of the ethos and the vibe of what's happening, and a lot of Web3 is really just based on the sentiment. It's not necessarily about the fundamentals, not necessarily about how many followers you have on Instagram or Twitter. It's really how immersed you are in the culture. One person or one artist who has 100 collectors in Web3 is going to do exponentially better than someone who has 10 million followers but has never spent a day on Twitter. So what you see here, how likely are the collectors to buy the next drop? If someone comes in and buys a drop for $20 million on the first day and it goes to zero, chances are those collectors are not going to come back again. So instead of asking yourself, how do I buy the biggest brand name that I see in the world, how do I collect someone that's going to consistently come back, release more music NFTs, and keep delivering on their initial promise? And lastly, how likely is the artist to reinvest in their community? I think this is really important because I see a lot of artists get involved today. They go out, they do their drop, and then you never hear from them again. Maybe they're scared of what happened. Maybe they got some backlash. But an artist really needs to invest back into the community. I think that goes far beyond what they say with their words. If you see them on-chain buying other NFTs, if you see them coming back to these community events, performing at shows, doing things that show that they're in the culture, those are some of the very small things that I look for when it comes to investing directly into music NFTs. So here's some artists to watch. On the left side here, these are some of the ones that I'm keeping track of. Latasha, Daniel Allen, Angel Baby, which is a Fluff World avatar, Roki, which is a project coming out pretty soon, Board Brothers, which is a collab between Kygo and Ryan Tedder, Blondish, who we saw spoke earlier today, and RAC, who's just a genuine innovator in the space. These are all some amazing artists in the music NFT space to keep an eye on. But what I really want to highlight here is the reason why music NFTs are catching the attention of so many independent artists. On the left side here, we have a look at the catalog sales for some of the top-selling artists relative to their Spotify income from the last year. In the case of people like Khalik or Grady, they're making exponentially more off of their music NFT sales than they have from their entire streaming catalog. My friend Grady, who's a phenomenal artist, has 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and yet he's making more off of catalog sales from just a few records. This isn't to say that it's all about the money, but what it does go to say is that music NFT sales take the average relationship with a fan much, much further. We're in a state right now, if you have 100 collectors in music NFTs, you are absolutely crushing it. And so we look at that metric compared to 1 million, 2 million monthly listeners, the relationship you have with those individuals is going to go so much further than what you have today. And I really encourage people to focus on this because this is what matters. People say to me all the time, how do we get a Web3 artist to have 1 million plays? I think it's way less about getting 1 million plays. It's way more about having 100 true fans who are going to come back and support everything that you do. Right now, that's a very Web3 native audience. It's people who are really forward-thinking in technology. They've done well for themselves financially to support. But the underlying premise there is you want people involved who really care about what you're doing. And if you can create a community where you have people coming back, supporting everything that you're doing, it's no longer about trying to optimize for plays or playlists or anything like this. Instead, you can have creative freedom to work on what you love and have the people that like you the most support everything that you do. So if we go a little bit forward, it's not all sunshine and rainbows out here. I wrote a thread, 20 problems with music NFTs today. I'm not going to sit up here and try and tell you it's a utopian world that everything's perfect right now. There's a lot of problems with music NFT. It's very inaccessible to the average fan. There's a lot of different barriers to entry. There's an extreme amount of gatekeeping happening right now, but we're getting to a good place. And as I like to say, I think these are all growing pains to getting somewhere better. I would highly encourage you to check out this thread. It has a lot of different details about places that we can improve. And if you're someone that's in the audience looking to go deeper, these are just some of the few problems I would recommend looking into. With that being said, this is where you can stay up with me on social media. In the top right, we got my Twitter, where I tweet about music NFTs every single day. If you want to look at what I'm actually buying on chain, we have my OpenSea profile in the top left. If you want to see me posting acai bowls and coming to Ibiza, you can follow me on Instagram at the bottom there. Last but not least, I write a weekly newsletter, This Week in Music NFTs. If you want to learn about everything that I'm tracking every single Monday, free delivered to your inbox, go ahead and sign up. You can find it on Miro Substack, and that's the best place to stay involved. Thank you guys so much.